Hello everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. I am back from vacation as of yesterday, April 1st, and now I am filming my progress report for my March currently inked. I actually took every single one of these pens on vacation with me and all actually performed quite beautifully. I will show my ratings on the side here, but overall, I mean, there wasn't a single one here that I was not happy with. I think I was happy with pretty much the whole selection for the month. So let's go ahead and I will do my report, and then I will also do my updates in terms of number of samples, pens, all of that. Let's get started. The first pen that I had inked up for this month was my Lamy 2000 with the extra fine nib, and this has Van Diemen's and Pulp Addiction Allspice. Now, I do have to say that in a previous inking of this pen, I had a lot of leaking that was happening here, and this time I followed the advice of many commenters, basically saying once you've filled your Lamy 2000, actually expel a little bit of that ink so that it's not full to the brim, and that advice has really helped me. So thank you for whoever suggested that. So I gave the ink an 8, the flow a 7, and the comfort level a 9. I love the brown tone of the ink, and it has some lovely shading properties, but it was not one I reached for often. The flow is actually a bit dry for me, but the comfort level of this pen is top notch. And the Lamy 2000 was one that I never expected to really love, but I do love the comfort of this pen. So that is my Lamy 2000 with Van Diemen's and Pulp Addiction Allspice. This next pen is a favorite. I love this one. Just love the look of the resin. So this is my Leonardo Momento Zero, and this is a Stilo and Stile exclusive in their Via Latea or their Milky Way, and it has an extra fine nib, but I'm just gonna show you how beautiful this is. This encapsulates the, I guess, era that I'm in right now when it comes to pens. I love the browns, I love the neutral look of this, and I feel like I could put almost anything in this particular pen. So the ink in here is actually Wearingeul Stonecutter Song, and I gave the ink an 8, and actually I feel like I'm going to change that and make that a 9. The flow is a 9, the comfort level is a 9. The ink started a bit dry, so I added a touch of White Lightning, and the flow is now perfect. This brown is a perfect match to the resin, and the extra fine nib is really smooth. I do love the size and the width of the Momento Zero, and it's really great to write with. So that is the Leonardo Momento Zero in the Stilo and Stile exclusive Via Latea with Wearingeul Stonecutter's Song. The next pen and ink combination is a newer pen. This is from Just Turnings. This is the Brighten Your Own Pen or BYOP collection in the pink and gold abalone, and it currently has the Sailor 21 karat nib. If you haven't seen this video yet, I will leave a link here in the corner for you to watch, but basically Steven has created this pen so that you can have this pen body and put on a nib that you like. So he does this for the Sailor Pro Gears, the Sailor Pro Gear Slims, and I believe he's also done this for the Platinum 3776s. So definitely love that for this. It's a much more comfortable pen in my hand. And the ink in here is Diamine Cashmere Rose. So I gave Diamine Cashmere Rose the ink a 9. I gave the flow a 9 and the comfort level a 9. The pink of this ink is gorgeous. The flow could almost be too wet for my liking when combined with a medium nib on the Sailor, which is why I only gave it a 9. And then the width and length of the BYOP make this combo very comfortable. I really did like writing with this pen, and I wrote with it quite a lot this month. So that is my Just Turnings Brighten Your Own Pen in the pink and gold abalone with the Sailor 21 karat medium nib, and that has Diamine Cashmere Rose. The next pen and ink combination, while I get my hair out of the way here, is the Silver Burl pens, and this also has the Strata quartz, which is also what the Leonardo Momento Zero is made out of, but one has a matte finish and one has the glossy finish, and I love them both. And this one was made by John of Silver Burl Pens. He did a custom for me in the silver series, and I asked for the lovely glitter finials. Gosh. And this is inked with Sailor Shikiori Yozakura. So I gave the ink a 9, the flow a 10, and the comfort level a 10. It actually has been quite a while since I've used this ink, and I love the pink and purple tones of this. The extra fine nib on this is very smooth, and the flow is perfect. It's not too dry. It's actually just above average in terms of wetness. This pen is slightly larger and therefore comfortable for longer writing sessions. One of the things I've forgotten to do is actually show you the ink level on most of these, and most of these are pretty much done in terms of ink level, and with that much left in it, I am okay with dumping the rest of that out. Like, it's literally a drop. And when I say dump it out, I dump it out into the sink. I do not put it back in the sample or into the bottle. So that is my Silver Burl pens in the Strata Quartz with Sailor Shikiori Yozakura. The next pen is my Esterbrook Estie in a lilac, and this has an extra fine nib, and this is inked with Ferris Wheel Press Auroralis. This was actually the pen and ink combination I used in my 5-year journal for the month of March. I pick a different pen and ink combination every month, and I don't use the same pen for the whole year because I get bored after 30 days, which is why I change it every month, but I have loved this combination. So I gave the ink a 10, the flow a 10, the comfort level a 10. So 10 out of 10 across the board. This shimmery purple ink is so pretty and fun. I couldn't wait to write with it every single day. There were no flow issues actually with the smooth extra fine nib and the shimmer. And normally there's a lot of people who have trouble with shimmer and extra fine nibs, but this worked perfectly for me. And of course, Estes are my most comfortable pens. And when we look at how much ink is left in here, you can barely see, but really there's maybe like about that much. Oh, I'm not even on screen, about that much left. So maybe like a third of it. So I might possibly write this one dry just because I've loved using it so much. So that is my Esterbrook Estie in lilac with an extra fine nib with Ferris Wheel Press Auroralis. The next pen and ink combination is Leonardo Aqua Petra. This has a fine nib and it has Robert Oster Australis Hydra. That ink I have had in my sample collection for quite some time, and I just never got around to using it, and I'm so glad that I am making myself work through my collection. Shop what you have, use what you have. Whoops. So I gave the ink a 10, the flow a 10, and a comfort level a 10. Now, saying that though, it's got the same rating as the Esterbrook Estie Lilac, but there is something about the Estie Lilac that just puts it ahead of this one by just a little bit. But the blue of the Robert Oster Australis Hydra has got a hint of sheen, but it's bright and punchy. It's been fun to use while I've been on vacation. The fine nib on this is so smooth and wet, and the shape of this pen makes it one of the most comfortable that I do own. So then looking at how much ink is actually left in this pen, gosh, there is still quite a bit in here. This is one of the things, I didn't use it as much as I would have liked, and I don't know if I'm going to write this one dry the way that I would my Esterbrook Estie Lilac. This one, I think I'm going to probably, I'm sorry to say, dump down the sink, and then I have maybe that much of the sample left, so I might give away the sample as well. I'm putting that to the side too. So great pen to use, really fun ink to use this month, but it's not one that I will probably need to buy a bottle of or further explore. But that is my Leonardo Aqua Petra with Robert Oster Australis Hydra. The next pen and ink combination is my Pelikan M800, and this is inked with Ferris Wheel Press Edwards Gardens. And I'm sorry, but the Pelikan M800 is just such a classy pen. I know for some people this is too big, but for me it is a wonderful size in terms of its heft and its length and its width. And somebody commented on one of my videos, oh, you like to hold tube size objects in your hand, or tube shaped objects in my hand. I did not reply to that because really a pen is a tube shaped object. So he wasn't completely wrong, but still, not the most appropriate YouTube comment ever. So I gave the ink a 10, the flow an 8, and the comfort level a 10. I really love the dark teal of this ink and the way the shimmer just stands out, and then the sheen is not too overpowering. I did have to prime the feed a few times, but otherwise the flow is juicy, and the M800 is of course my perfect Pelikan size. Now, I can't really show you how much ink is left in here, but I don't know if I will end up writing this one dry. I am okay with dumping whatever's left in here down the sink. I know a lot of people hate wastage, but I would rather switch out an ink and clean a pen if I'm no longer going to use it. That's just me. So that is my Pelikan M800 with an extra fine nib with Ferris wheel press, Edwards Gardens. Next we have my vintage pen, the only vintage pen I currently have. This is the Pelikan 140 with an extra fine flexi nib, and it has Colorverse Alpha Pisces. And I didn't use this one as much as I thought I would, and I really wanted to keep using the Colorverse Alpha Pisces ink. So I gave the ink a 10, the flow a 10, but the comfort level of this pen only a 6. I really love this green and need to make use of it more. The nib and feed on this pen are perfect for this normally drier ink, but this pen is just too small for long writing sessions. And I wish I could show you the ink level in here. You can kind of see it because this is a little bit transparent, but there's still quite a lot of ink in here. I did not use this as much as I would have liked to, just because of the size of it. I think one more thing I will do is probably a Zentangle or a Doodle with this, and then probably empty that out. And I still love this ink, but this and the pen combined with it, because it's a very, very wet pen, were perfect together. It's just the size of it that really threw me on this one. So that is my Pelikan 140 with Colorverse Alpha Pisces. And lastly, we have my Sailor Manyo Nuts. This is the Pro Gear Slim model with a medium fine nib that has been tuned and smoothed by Kirk Spear, and it has Sailor Manyo Shirakashi. So this is the ink that actually came with the pen, and I haven't used this combination in about a year, so I'm glad that I was able to use it now. So I gave the ink a 9, the flow a 10, and the comfort level a 7. I love how this ink shifts from the green to brown, and with my tuned 14K medium fine nib, it had the perfect above average flow. But unfortunately, the Pro Gear Slim size is not comfortable for long sessions, and even when I ended up doing my Zentangle, which I will show here shortly, it was not the most comfortable when doing this. And I just want to show you how much ink is left in here. I try to fill my pens anywhere from half full to maybe about 3/4 full, and this one still has maybe about a third or just a little over a third of that ink left. And because I have a bottle of this, again, I don't mind dumping that out. And that's just me personally. I know some people write their pens completely dry. I am okay with dumping out the less than milliliter of ink down the sink. So that is my Sailor Pro Gear Slim Manyo Nuts with a medium fine nib with Sailor Manyo Shirakashi. So those were my pens and inks for the month of March. I think it was very obvious that the Esterbrook Estie Lilac was my favorite with that Ferris wheel press Auroralis. And I was actually really happy with the Memento Zero with the Wearingle Stone Cutters Song. Which was your favorite out of the bunch that were here? Let me know down in the comments below. Now I'm going to show you guys my little progress report for how many pens and inks I have acquired, given away, sold, things like that for the month of March. So for my pens update, and now I'm just going to have a little fun with this nib here because lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, so the number of pens for this month. This month I had purchased 3 pens. None are currently in my hand and none have been shipped yet. Is it a secret? Do I want it to be a secret? No, I'll leave it. I'll leave it in suspense here. And then the amount of pens I sold this month. I sold 8 pens this month. So if you were keeping an eye, on my Instagram account and my YouTube account, you'll see all the pens I sold, which helped to fund the purchase of those 3 pens. Now for inks. Inks are organized into samples as well as the bottles. Okay, so for ink samples, excuse me, there were 0 ink samples purchased. Yay for me. And then there were 8 ink samples used or given away. And then there were 18 ink samples gifted. So thank you to Wava and to my friend S for sending me those samples. I'm so grateful for all of those. And then for ink bottles, there were 0 ink bottles. Wait, hold on, checking. 0 ink bottles purchased. 0 ink bottles gifted. So I didn't acquire any this month. And there was 1 ink bottle given away. So when it comes to my totals overall, writing my totals, let's shift this up. And oh gosh, it is fun playing with the flex nib on this. Totals. So the total number of pens went down. Went down by 5. So the total number of pens that I do currently own is 39. The total number of ink samples went up by 10. 10 up. So I currently have 80 samples. And then ink bottles, I went down 1. So I have 39 bottles as well. Oh, interesting. So what do you think of this progress update? I know there have been other people who have done this as well. And for me personally, this just helps me keep my collection, make me more aware of what I have, what I'm acquiring, what I'm letting go, especially for this month. The month of March was a lot of letting go of pens and then 3 big purchases. So I'm really curating my collection, and I feel like my collection will change over time in terms of my tastes. I mean, if I'm already thinking what my 2024 collection video at the end of this year is going to look like versus the way 2023 looked, and I think they're going to be very different just because of the way my taste changed, and I'm perfectly okay with that. All right, so that is it for me. I'm hoping this was helpful, as well as my progress update of my currently inked pens. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a great day.